and then okay, I think the recording has started. And so now, welcome to the NPTEL session today. And let me start by sharing my screen. So what I'll first do is I'll just first discuss some of the main topics here, mainly related to assignments of week 3. So I'll start with the MCQs, and then there are some coding assignments as well, which I will also go through. And as you can see, I have just also want to make sure that you all can see the screen which I'm sharing. So can you please also confirm that whether you can see my screen which I'm sharing?
Yes, sir, it is visible.
Okay, okay, great, great. I think then this is good. Then what I can do is I can start discussing the questions. So let's start with the assignment 3 of week 3. This is the MCQs, and as I was saying, I will first start with the MCQs, and then I'll go on to discuss some of the programming assignments as well. Okay, so let's start with the first question, which says that which of the following statement is correct? Operator precedence determines which operator is performed first in an expression with more than one operator with different precedence, and associativity is used when the two operators of the same precedence appear in the expression. So as I think you have also gone through the video lectures, so you might have already been familiar with operator precedence and also about the associativity. So the way it works is that in C and also in any other programming language as well, there is a precedence with which operation is to be carried out is determined, and that depends on the operator and the precedence that has been set by the compiler itself. And when you have multiple operators of the same kind or the same precedence, then there is an order, like some of the operators are evaluated from left to right, while some of the operators are evaluated from right to left. So I think there, and when there is only just one operator of some precedence, then it is completely random which one, either whether it is done from left to right or whether it is done from right to left. So I think this is a bit of a subtle point in here, and if you want, and I think you also won't be encountering this so often, but I think this is also a good place where you can look up operator precedence, especially in the context of C. So I'll share this link with you, and I'll also be consulting this link every now and then while discussing some of the assignments, which is a comprehensive list basically of all the operators and its precedence and everything else, right? So this is the thing which I was talking about. Let me have this window somewhere here, which doesn't interfere with anything. Okay, right. So here you can see that this is the list of operator precedence in C, and associativity means that when you have operators of the same precedence, then whether you do it from left to right or right to left is what associativity means. So I can also like give an example of this. Let me open my tab. Okay, let me start writing in here. Just a minute. Why is this not working? Let's see. Yes. Okay. Now this is working. Right. So what I'm now going to do is, as I was talking about operator precedence, so the way it works is, say you have something like 3 plus 2 plus 5. So now, which one of the thing that you do first, whether do you do 3 plus 2 or you do 2 plus 5, which is the one that you do first? Because plus has like the same operator, so it's the same precedence, so that determines associativity. So for plus, your associativity is from left to right. Let me erase this. So that would mean that you will first do this step, so this will be 5, and then you do a plus 5 in here, and now this will give you 10. So this is how this operator precedence business works. And okay, and feel free to interrupt me anytime whenever you like, and you have some doubt. I will be happy to address that as well. Okay, so let me go back to my screen where I was discussing this. Right. Okay, and the other thing, okay, the other thing which I was also mentioning is this, that uh, this will also, you will find in the mm, article which I shared, and this is about, let's go back to the screen share, and this is mainly about this thing that, say you have like a 3 plus 2. So now in this case, you do not have, I mean, here only one operator is there, and when you have just one operator of the same precedence, then this associativity doesn't matter. So it can be either 2 plus 3 or it can be 3 plus 2. So the compiler may go in this direction or the compiler may go in this direction. It's completely dependent on system to system. So it is something not fixed. So the way it is demonstrated in here is that, say, suppose you define x equals to 5, right? And you do something like f of 2 plus f of 3. So this is a function, and inside this function f, you change the value of x, right? So, and then you return that value in here. And after this, if you want to print the value of x in here, depending upon whether this was called first and this was called first, so what happens in the function f? Okay, let me also be thing here. So the x, whatever you pass as x, say you pass this as num. So inside the function, you make it num inside this function. So what this would mean is that your value of x is changing, and x is defined outside the function. Now, if you do f of 2 plus f of 3, obviously, and your function is returning num itself, or your function can return x as well. So because both are the same in here, right? Return x. So now you will get 5, but after this you have done, you again try to printf. If you do something like printf on x, so what you will have is, you can have the value of x either 3 or the value of x as either 5, depending upon which one happened last. So whether this went like this, then the one which was evaluated at the last was f of 2, so then your x was 2. But if your thing was going like this, then your x was 3. So this is something completely random and depends on things. So, but associativity, so the summary is that associativity doesn't matter when you have, and you will, this is just an example, you will hardly encounter this, I will not stress much on this, but the point is that when you have just one operator of the same precedence, then associativity doesn't matter. Only when you have multiple operators, then only associativity matters, and then you go from left to right or right to left. Okay, so I think enough of this discussion, we can just move straight ahead to the assignment thing. Okay, so let's, for this, I think this is quite straightforward. And for this, the right answer is option A, where you have operators of different types, and then the precedence is the one which decides which operator has to be evaluated first. And then when you have multiple operators of the same precedence, then it is the associativity which determines which expression is to be evaluated one before the other, right? So let's move on to the next question. And at this point, if any of you have any doubt, then please feel free to ask me. Since I'm talking, it's a bit difficult for me to continuously look at the chat. So I would appreciate if you can just unmute yourself at any point of time and ask questions that you might be having. Okay. So let me go to this next code, where you see it asks for the output of this program. So let's just write this program right away, and then I'll also discuss why you are getting that particular output. So just to be sure, I will also type this entire thing here, and then I will also explain that why we expect that result to be that. So so I'll put A equals to 50, B equals 20, then you have C equals 6, and D equals 3, result, right? And then you just evaluate result equals to A plus A star minus B over C modulus D plus C times D. Right. Then I'll do a printf on the result and return 0. Right. So now what I'll do is I'll just run this thing and let's see. So the result is 67. So the right answer is 67, but it's not the point is explaining this. Why do you get 67? And this depends on operator precedence. So let me first note it down and then we will discuss this on my notepad. So A equals to 50, B equals to 20, C equals to 6, and D equals to 3. And you have A plus A star of minus B divided by C percentage D plus C times of D. Right. So let me now go back and share my screen in here. Okay. So this is what I was writing. So this is what you have. So let's now substitute the values and see what happens. So we have a 50 plus a 50 star of minus B is 20 divided by, so you have a C which is 6. Then you have a modulus operator modulo. So you have a C modulo D. So D is 3 in here. And after that, you have a C which is 6 times 3. All right, yes. So now let's hop on and see what are the operator precedences in here. So let's see. So I'll again go back and show you this slide where you see that the first operator comes is the unary operator, which is this just negative thing. So it just negates the number. So it's 5 minus 5. So this is unary plus minus. So this is the unary plus. So where is the unary plus minus in here? This is the unary plus minus minus 20. So it actually this plus 20 and your minus. So it's a minus 20. So this is the unary operator. So this has the first precedence. And this is followed by the other one. So let's go back. So next comes is the star or the multiplicative operator. So multiplication, division, and modulus. All these have the same precedence. So when you have multiple operators of the same precedence, then the associativity comes in. So first, this minus 20 becomes minus 20, and then we have multiplication. And addition, I think, has a precedence which is much later than that, because you see that addition and subtraction has a precedence later. So first we have to do the multiplication first. And then the associativity will be from left to right. So how would that happen? So let's first identify what are the operators that has to be done right away. So the operators that has to be done right away, I think this also includes division as well. So let's be sure that you see this also includes division. So all this has to be done together. So you have, let's see, this one, which is multiplication, we have a division, we have a modulus, and we have another which is another multiplication. And minus 20 had the precedence much before than that, but it does nothing. It basically negates the number. So let's now then evaluate this. So how we will evaluate? We have a 50, we have a plus, so and we have a 50 times minus 20, right? So we have a minus 1000, and then on then we have so now we are proceeding from left to right, right? So that's how the precedence goes. So now we have a 6 modulo 3 plus, and then there is a 6 times 3, which is 18. So I have just done part of it. Then again, we will do from left to right. So although I'm breaking it up into different parts, but this is done by the compiler together from left to right. But just for simplicity, I'm just doing one operation at a time. But all these operations of the same precedence are done right away at a single point of time. So now I am doing this. So you have a minus 10 divided by 6. So this part won't happen before. What will happen is the division will be happening first. This part will be happening first, and then the modulus. And just because it's from left to right, that's the operator precedence, right? So in action that you can see. So you have a 1000, which you divide by 6 basically, right? So now what you have at the end is 50, and then you have this one, which gives you, I think, minus of 166, right? And then you have something like a modulo. So you have a modulo 3 and you have an 18 in here, right? And then you have the modulus operator. So you do a modulus, which gives you the remainder of thing of this. And the remainder, I think, is if you divide it and if you try to see the remainder, it will be 1. So you have a 50 plus of a minus 1 and you have a plus of 18, right? So this is it. And now the next operator precedence is addition, because you have done all the multiplication. So you have the addition, which you need to do. And again, you have to proceed from left to right, because that's the operator associativity. You see from here, the associativity is from left to right. So you have to again do the same procedure. And then this gives you, 49. Again, I'm just breaking it up for you to understand, but this is totally up to you. And this gives you 67. So this is what the result was. So I hope this is clear. And if not, then please, this is the time then you can ask. Okay, then let's move on to the next question in here, which is again similar type, which asks for the output of the following code. So it's like h equals to 8. So just like before, I'll just have this, oops, I'll just have this written down and then we can discuss, right? So let's do that again. So we have int h equals to 8, and we have then int b equals to 4 times 6 plus 3 times 4 less than h times 5 question mark 4 colon 3, right? And okay, so 4 times 6, just to confirm, 3 times 4 less than h times 5 question mark 4 colon 3. Okay, so now I'll just do a print of this, right? I'll print b and now compile it. And you see I get the value of 4. So this is the correct answer. So let's now find out why are we getting the value of 4. So this operator that you can see in here, which is a question mark, and then you have a colon. So this is called a ternary operator, which is something unique in C and C++. I don't think you have such a ternary operator in other languages, but once you have the ternary operator, since it's an operator, you will also have a precedence of it. So let's look at what is the precedence of the ternary operator. And if you look at it, the precedence of ternary operator is way below, like it's 13. So while the other operators have a much higher rank and much higher precedence. So you can clearly understand that what we are doing in here, which is multiplication and addition, this has to be done much before compared to everything that the ternary operator does. And I'll also describe what this ternary operator actually means. If you have forgotten this, I think this is also the time when I also explain that, so that there is no confusion. So let me now go back to where I was writing. So, okay, I think let me just write this down and then I'll again come and share this screen. Okay, so, all right. So this was something like h equals to 8 and then b equals 4 times 6 plus 3 times 4, which is less than h times 5 question mark 4 times 3 4 colon 3. Okay, so now let me minimize, come in here. So, okay, I hope you can share the screen. So by the way, just to confirm, you can share, see the screen where I'm writing also, right? Hello, is there anyone who can confirm?
Yes, sir.
Okay, okay, great.
Yes, sir.
Okay, uh, great. So then let's evaluate this. As I was already telling you before that the operator precedence is also again what we will be looking for. So here you can see we have uh, operators which are multiplication, addition. Then we have a conditional operator which is this less than sign. As you can see in here, I'm highlighting. Let me not overwrite this. This is this. And then we have the ternary operator, which is this question mark. So let's I'll come to what the ternary operator means later on when I'll be evaluating the ternary operator. But before that, let's just go by the operator precedence. So you can see that multiplication has to be done much before all of these. So multiplication has the highest precedence. Even then there is one more additional operator, which is this less than operator, which is a relational operator. And again, you can see in here that where is the less than operator? Let me find that. Mm, conditional operator in here. Yeah, here it is. Relational less than. So this also has a much lower precedence compared to addition or multiplication an operator, right? So this is it. So addition and multiplication, all these has to be done before. So the first thing will be multiplication, followed by addition, and then you have the relational operator, and all of these has their associativity from left to right. For this relational operator, it doesn't matter because you have only one of them, so associativity won't matter. So all we will be concerned about is the precedence. So let's evaluate this. So this is going to give you 24, right? Now we are going from left to right. So now this is going to give you 12, and this is less than. So we'll again do this multiplication. So h we know is 8. So this is 40, and this is question mark 4, 3, right? So this point. So now we are going to do an addition in here. So the addition you see is kind of here. So we do this addition in here, and let's see. So we have this 36, which is less than 40, right? And then we have a question mark. We have a 4, and then we have 3, right? So this is how this is. And here you can see right now that I have simplified this, and now we have two of these operators. One is this question mark, which is a ternary operator, and then there is this less than, which is the relational operator. So how this works now for the relational operator is that it either gives you true or false. And if 36 is less than 40, which is true, so this is going to give you true, right? So in C, this is typicality of C. What happens for conditional operator is that anything which is false is 0, and any non-zero quantity is treated as true. So 1, -1, 5, -20, all these are treated as true by C. So there is a C whenever there is a conditional operator, and when you have value on either side, any value which is non-zero is treated as value which is true, while any value which is 0 is treated as something which is false, right? Otherwise, I mean, that is how the convention goes. So this is kind of the thing where you see that this is uh, all these are true, but when C outputs something, like it is this which has to be output. So this is true. So what it gives is 1, right? Which means true. And the way this ternary operator works is this, that let me write the general form. You have a condition followed by a question mark, then true value, right? And then you have a false value. So this is how the general statement of a ternary operator works, and this can be assigned to any variable. So what this means is that first the condition is going to get evaluated. So this will give you a condition if this is true, so a value which is 1. If this evaluates to 1, true means, as I was saying, is 1 or any positive number. So if this condition is 1 or any positive number, then B will be assigned this value, which is the true value, just after the one which is just after the question mark. While if this is false, then we will be assigned this value, the one which is after the colon. So this is how it works. So an example would be this example itself, or I can give you an even simple example in here just to make this point very clear. So what you have is b equals to, say you write 5 is greater than 6 colon 4 3. So 5 is greater than 6 is false. So this evaluates to 0. So the value of b in this case is 3, right? So but if you have a similar condition where you have 10 greater than 6 question mark 4 3. So now what this would mean is that the value of 10 greater than 6 is true. So this will let me scroll it a little bit. So this evaluates to 0, but now this evaluates to 1. And since this evaluates to 1, which is true, the value of b is going to be 4 in this case, right? So this is how ternary operators work. So now let's see what will happen in here. 36 is less than 40 in this specific case, right? And because we know that 36 is less than 40 is a true statement, this will evaluate to 1. And whenever this evaluates to 1 or any non-zero value, to be specific, then you have something which is true. So the value of this is 4. And that is what we are getting in here for this question. So let's move on. So here you see that the value which we are getting in here is 4. And this is what I also, let's see, go back to VS Code and what we have also confirmed while we were coding. So please ask any questions. This was a little bit tricky, I would say. So please ask us any question if you are confused. Let me also check the chat once if someone, when we want to check a condition, then we can. Yes, there is a condition in here, which is this less than operator. So less than operator is gives you the condition. Okay. Great. I guess I can move on then and then discuss this next question, which is what is the output of the following C code? So you see that you start with a value of X, which is 1, and then you do some stuff in here. So let's just discuss this right away. You see the value of X is 1, and then it looks for this condition, right? So the way if-else statement is works is that if the first statement is true, then none of these statements are going to get evaluated. If this is not true and this is false, so this value will be 0. If this is false, then you come and evaluate this statement. And if this is true, so if this value evaluates to anything in this bracket evaluates to have a value which is 1 or any non-zero number, then this is going to be true, and then this is what you get in here. But if this value comes out to be 0, then you go to the else statement, and then this is what is going to get printed, right? So let me check. Let us just discuss what this happens in here. So 3 greater than 5. So okay. So let me also once again write this down, and then we can discuss 3. I think this is something which I am not going to write in the code itself because it's pretty simple. But I mean, if you have any problems, then we can obviously write this down as well. Just let me know. Okay. So let's go in here. So this is the next thing which we are discussing in here. Okay. So you see this 3 is greater than 5 or 2 not equals to 3. So when you have a parenthesis or a bracket, as you can see right in here that you have a parenthesis or a bracket, then that would mean is that these are the ones which has the highest precedence. So if you again go by precedence, you'll see that the parenthesis has the highest precedence. Let me again just to recap, show you that parenthesis, this has the highest precedence, as you can see by the operator precedence. Okay, so we have to evaluate this. So 3 greater than 5, this is false. So this is going to evaluate to 0, this part, or, and it's 2 not equals to 3, right? So it is true. So this is going to evaluate to 1. So now you see 0 or 1. And so left is false and right is of this operand is true. And if by or, you will have, oops, if you have an or, what you will have is that you if any of the operands on either side of the operator is 1 or any non-zero value, then this will evaluate to 1. So this value is going to be 1, and this is true, right? So as soon as you know that this is true, because this is evaluating to 1, what we can do is that we just go in here, and here you can see that then this statement is going to get evaluated. So IIT KGP is what that is going to get evaluated, and this is what you will get as a print statement. So this is exactly what is happening in here. So that is what you are getting, IIT KGP /n. So this is the correct option is A. And I hope this is clear. And you no need to even go and see what's happening in here, because and no need to evaluate it, because this statement already gave you true, and so this is where you go, and you will ignore everything in else if or else. Right? Had this been false, then you have to evaluate else if. And again, if else if gives you a true, then you just go in here and you don't have to evaluate anything after this. So this is the logic that is happening in here. Okay. So let's see if you have any doubt, then you can ask, or otherwise I'll just move on to question 5. And again, I just want to reiterate and repeat that if any of you have any problems with anything or any doubts, then please feel free to interrupt me at any point of time, and I'll be happy to answer your questions. Okay. So let's discuss this question 5, where you can see the question is you have a main function and then you have a condition. So if condition is, if this is true, so by true in C, what you'll have is the value inside this bracket within the if statement should be something which give you a non-zero quantity. And if it gives a zero quantity, then it's false, and then it is going to show you condition is false. So let's see what you will have. So minus 10 and 10. So what this gives you is a value which is true, because any, as I was saying, any value which is non-zero is treated as true. So minus 10 is also true, and when you do a AND operator, and the other operand also has to be true, which is plus 10. So you'll always have a quantity which is 1. So just to confirm, we can also do this and just check what the expression looks like. So let's do that. Let's get rid of this in the code, and let's just show you what is happening. So what I'll do is I'll do a minus 10 and then plus 10, right? And this is all that is needed, and I'll just compile the code, and you'll see I get a value of 1. So you know that, as I was saying, that minus 10 and plus 10, all these values are non-zero, so these are treated as true. So if you have true on either side of, on both sides of AND, then only you will have something which is true or 1. And similarly, you will also have a 1 in here, because 20 is also non-zero quantity, so 20 and then minus 20 is also give you 1. So at the end of the day, you'll have 1 or 1, because we were also calculating it by the operator precedence. We first calculated the parenthesis things inside the parenthesis, and once they are evaluated, we have 1 or 1. And 1 or 1 also gives you 1. So the output of this is that the condition is true. So then that is the right answer in here. Okay. So once we have done this, let's move on to the next question in here. There, again, what is asked is the output of this following code. And here we have a comma operator and also an assignment operator. So I equals to 0 is an assignment operator. And next we have a lot of comma operators, right? So let's see what happens. So you see, and there is obviously a parenthesis. So if, so anything after this if statement is something which is what determines which will be followed, whether the if part is followed or the else part is followed. So if this value inside the bracket evaluates to something which is again non-zero, then NPTEL will be printed. If this is something which evaluates to 0, then programming on C will be printed. So you see in here, the first is assignment. So there is an assignment operator and there is a comma operator in here with inside the parenthesis. So we have to look at what the precedence here is. So here you can see, I think there will be an assignment operator somewhere. Yes, here you see the assignment operator has a precedence of 14. So second last, and the comma operator has the least precedence, which is at the rank 15. So this is the comma operator. And you see that the for assignment, it is from right to left, and comma operator is from left to right. So again, you start evaluating from left to right, and for assignment, you do from right to left. But Associativity will not matter for assignment because you have only just one assignment operator. So associativity is immaterial in here. So all you do in here is I 0. So I gets assigned the value of 0, and then you move from right to left, right? So first you assign value of I to 0, and then you go to the next one, which is 2, because you have multiple comma operators, and because with the multiple comma operators, you have to follow the associativity, and associativity is not from left to right, but from right to left. Had the associativity is from right to left, then what you will have is the assignment of I will be happening later, because you will start from doing this, right? But now the assignment of I has happened, I has been assigned 0, and then you move from left to right. So at the end, what this bracket, the quantity inside the bracket will evaluate to 3, because this is the last quantity. Now we can again also confirm this by doing the same thing. So let's also do this. Let's do an int I equals to, sorry, this is an int I, and let's check this, and it will be, let's see, I equals 0, 2, 3, right? And we'll print B, and also we can print I as well. Let's see, B equals to this. Copy this in here. I equals to I, right? So I'm printing I and B. So let's see what will happen in here. So let me compile this, and you see B equals to 3. That's just as I was saying, because your comma operator, you move from left to right from by associativity rule, and so the one which at the end is what you are left with. So you are left with a value of 3. So 3 obviously means it's true because it's non-zero, right? So the one that will be evaluated is NPTEL, and at the end your I will be printed, and you see the value of I, which is 0 in here, because I equals to 0, and assignment operator has to be evaluated much before this. So the value of I is 0, and the value of I is not 3. And that is what is getting printed. So you will have NPTEL 0, which is the right answer in here. Okay. So I guess this is also would be clear to you. If not, please ask me right now, and I can then try to address your concern. Okay. Okay, then let me move on to question 7. Here you can see it's the output, or it asks for the output of the C program once again, and you start with x equals to 0. So there is this increment operator, which you are saying this is getting it, something is getting incremented, which is x in here, and you can have an increment before or increment after. So this is if you have a plus plus after the name of the variable, then you will have an increment after, and if you have a plus plus before the name of the variable, then you are going to have an increment before. And similarly, same thing is true for a decrement operator as well, whether it's to the left or it's to the right of the name, right? So you do it before or after. So what this would mean is that the value of x here is going to change from 0 to 1, because it's going to be incremented by 1. But the value of x that will be used here in this expression is going to be the value with before the change was made. So before x was 1, it was 0. So this is the value which is going to be used in this bracket. So just to confirm in here, we can try the same thing. So let's do that. Int x equals to 0. This is the value of x that I'm going to assign. Now let me do, let's call it b only, and let's do an x plus plus, right? And let's print the value of x as well later on, right? And I'm also printing the value of b. So what this would mean here is that the value of b would be used as 0, because it's the value of what x was before incrementing, and then the value of x gets updated. So the value of x becomes 1, but the value of b still remains 0, because it's the plus plus is after. So just to confirm, let me run this code, and you can see, fair enough, your b has a value of 0 while your x has a value of 1. But on the other hand, if you have something like on the left of this, so if you have something like a plus plus x, then what this would mean is that the value of x is going to increment, and the incremented value is going to what b, and then both of the values will now be 1. As you can see in here, x equals to 1 and b equals to 1. So in this specific case, since we had a update which is after the to the right of x, so it's after the therefore the thing in the parenthesis is going to give you 0, and you know that 0 would mean that the condition is false, and if the condition is false, then you go and check this else if, and else if x equals to 1. So next question is whether else is equals to 1 or not, and we know else is equals to 1, right? Because x has been in this statement, because x has already been incremented in here. So you have x equals to 1, so that this is true. Because this is true, you print false, and that is what you get. So you see the output of this code is false, and that's also the right answer in here, right? So I think this is was clear to you, hopefully, and we can then proceed to the next question. If you do not have any doubts in here, just let me know. Let me also check the chat once if someone has posted anything or not. Okay, and equals means. Okay, and equals means is that how do I, so this is like just like plus equals. This is like you do a bitwise operator on the value which you are using and assign it there. So every operator with a equals kind of has the same meaning in C. So what do I mean by that is that let me also demonstrate you. So say you have something like a x, a value of x which is 5, and you say x plus equals to 3. So that what this would mean is this is kind of a shorthand. This also means x equals to x plus 3, and then that would mean that the x equals to 5 plus 3. So this is 8. So this is like the value of x which needs to be updated by the new value which you provide in here, around about in here, right? And so and equals means you do the same thing. Instead of plus, you have an and equals some quantity, say 2, right? And then that would mean is that you do a bitwise operator on x. So this is again same as x equals to x and 2, right? And now x was 5, so you have 5 and 2. So this is a bitwise operation. I think you might have read. So the way you do this is convert 5 to its binary form, right? And then you have a 2 0, which is 1. So 5 in decimal corresponds to 1 0 1 in binary, and similarly 2 is going to corresponds to 2 is going to correspond to 0 1 0, right? So this is it, and then you do a bitwise AND. So what you will have is 1 and 0 is going to give you, sorry, it's bitwise AND. So you're going to have a 0, going to have a 0, and going to have a 0. So this is 0. So the new value of x is going to be 0. So this is what AND equals means. So you do the same operation that is here. So anything, it's like x, which can be any variable. So the way this works is variable, then operator, this is equals, and then argument, right? So that what this would mean is that whatever the value of the variable is at current point of time, use the operator on that variable, and the right hand side will be the argument that you pass, and then re-update your you update your variable in here. This is what this operator equals might mean, and this is kind of generic, whether it's plus equals, minus equals, or and equals. But obviously I didn't discuss this before because that was not going to be evaluated in the code. So I thought better not discuss that. But yeah, glad that you asked. Okay, so let's just then move on here. The question 8 again asked you to predict the output of this code. Again, you have a relational operator. You have an equal operator, like testing for equality. So equality operator and inequality operator in here. So again, if you go by operator precedence, you'll see that, let's see. Where are the, yes. So equality and inequality, these are relational operators which has the same precedence. So once the operators have the same precedence, associativity is going what you're going to use. So then associativity is again from left to right. So you go from left to right. So your 10 equals 20, which is obviously, let's say, not true, right? Because 10 is not equals to 20. So you are going to have 0. So 0 not equals to 30. So that would mean obviously true. Then what you are going to have is 1. And this is what you get in here. We can confirm this in the code as well. So let's also write that. We start with an int x. And then let's do this. We have an x equals 20, 10 equals 20 not equals 30, right? And then just hit enter, right? So you have the value of x, which is 1. And let me also show you why this is the case. So you start with x equals to 10 equals 20 not equals to 30, right? So let me go back to this. So this is what I am starting in here. So here you can see so we move from both of these, like double equals and which is equality operator, and then you have an inequality operator or unequal operator. Both are relational arguments, and these have the same precedence. So we use associativity and move from left to right. So we have 10 equals 20, which is not true. So we have 0 not equals 30, because we know that the false is 0 as it is presented in here. And when you have 0 not equals 30, this is true. So what you have is 1, right? But this is kind of the result in here. And this is what we also confirm that we are getting from the code. Okay, so let's move on to the penultimate question. And then after we just solve all of these, we will be going to the programming part of the assignment. Okay, so you see int a equals to 100, b equals to 200, and c equals to 300, right? And then we again have to evaluate c greater than b greater than a. So this again is simple in a sense that we have same operator, not only the same precedence, but the same operator. And then we have to see what is the associativity. Is it from left to right or right to left? Again, we go in here, and you see here is the operator, and it is from left to right. So you will follow this precedence and move from left to right. So what this would mean is that first we will evaluate c greater than b, and then we will evaluate b greater than a. Then we will evaluate the next part, not b greater than a, but the next part of it. So let me write this down once again before I change my screen. Right. So let's move on. So you see a is 100, b is 200, and c is 300, right? So let's okay, I forgot to write the question itself. So this is c greater than b greater than a, right? So let's substitute the value. So you start with 300 greater than 200 greater than 100, right? So if you do start with this, so 300 greater than 200 is obviously start from left to right. As I was saying, this is the associativity which tells you to this. So 300 greater than 200 is obviously true. So you'll have something which is 1, which is greater than 100, right? Now 1 greater than 100 is obviously not true, because 1 is less than 100. And so when you use this, you'll have something which is 0, right? And with this, you see that the value of this quantity is going to value to 0. Had this been the other way around, which is not true, mind it, this is not true. What we will have is a 200 greater than 100, right? So if you have 200 which is greater than 100, or 200 greater than 100, when you do it from right, so this is going to give you 1, and then you will have 300 greater than 1, and this is also again true, then this is again going to give you 1. But this is wrong, because you are evaluating from right to left and which violates associativity. These violates associativity rule. So for this specific operator, you always have to go from left to right, and hence the correct value is 0 and not the correct value is 1. So I think this is clear to you, and then I can move on to the next question, which happens to be also the last question in here perhaps. So okay, so if okay, so I have not discussed the later part of it, which is also pretty simple. So if you have a value which is 0, so obviously you know that anything inside 0 is false. So if won't be evaluated, and only the one which we evaluated is under the else statement, so false is going to evaluate it, and hence the correct answer is false. Okay, so let's go to the last one, where you have y which is assigned 10, z which is assigned different value, and then we are supposed to when the code is printing the value of z, and we are supposed to guess what the value of z is basically. So let me again write this small code down, and then we will break it up and discuss why the result is what we are getting. So let's try say y equals 10 and t z equals y plus y equals 10, right? And then percentage n, percentage n, okay, z, right? So this is all that we have in here, and let me run this. So we see that the value what we are getting is 11, and hence the right answer is 11, as you can see in here. But let's try to figure out why are we getting 11 in here. And for this, once again, what I'll do is I'll just write this down so that it's easy for me to show in my tab when I'm writing it, and I don't have to switch between screens. So z then equals to y plus y equals to 10, right? So let's move in here. Okay, so this is what I have written down. So you have y equals to 10. You start with a value of 10. So this is what you see. So then what you have is y, which is 10 plus 10, which is equals to 10. So now what this would mean is that 10, this is in parentheses, so this has the highest precedence, so this is what is going to evaluate it, and this is for true, right? Because 10 is equals to 10, right? So what you will have and true value is 1 according to the output. So this is what is going to get used to 10 plus 1, and then the operator precedence tells you that there is no operator precedence in here because you just have one operator, and then you just have something which is 11 in here. And so the right answer is 11, as we have already seen. So this concludes all the MCQs at this point. And before I move on to discuss some of the programming assignments, I would pause for 2-3 minutes just to check if any of you have any doubt or anything, then we can discuss. Please feel free to ask me if you have any doubts, then I can discuss that as well in next 1 or 2 minutes, or I'll move on to the programming assignment.
Sir, please repeat the previous ones.
Which previous one? Exactly which question can you tell me?
Question number 9.
9. Okay.
Yes, sir.
Okay. So then let me also write this code. I think that would also make it clear. So A equals to 100, B equals to 200, and C equals to 300, right? So this is what we have. And now if I go, if we have a C which is greater than B which is greater than A, we have a printf, printf true, we'll do something like a print. I'll do a /n as well, but just to have a new line, but it depends on you. And then I'll have a else statement as well, and I'll have printf false, right? And then we have a return 0. Okay, so now I'm going to just do this, and you see the answer is false. And the reason why this is happening is, first, what is getting evaluated, again, this is greater than. So if you go by operator precedence, if you see greater than is from left to right. So we are going to evaluate from left to right and not from right to left, right? So what this is happening is this, basically. You will have C is actually 300, 300, which is greater than 200, which is greater than 100, right? So now if you go from left to right, this is the operator that you are going to evaluate first. I mean, not the operator, but the expression. So this is same as doing this, right? And since we are not going from right to left, had we had gone from right to left, then this would have been the one to be evaluated first. But this is not what is happening. Okay, so what's happening is this is going to get evaluated. This is getting evaluated first. And if this gets evaluated first, the output of this 300 is greater than 200 is obviously true. And true by default, C outputs it as 1, right? So there is two things, that when C treats any value in a conditional operator, then any value which is non-zero is treated as true. But when it outputs a value which is true, it's always outputs 1. While for false, it's always 0. Anything which is 0 is taken as false. And when it outputs anything which is a false result, which is also 0. But for true, there is this exception that whenever it outputs any quantity, evaluates any quantity, that when it is true, it's evaluated to 1. But when you yourself provide any quantity on any side of a operand and it is non-zero, then it, where it was expecting either true or false, it interprets any non-zero quantity as a quantity which is true. Okay, so here 300 is greater than 200. So this is true, obviously, because 300 is greater than 200. So this is 1. So now you have the next condition, 1 which is greater than 100, right? So 1 which is greater than 100 is not true, obviously. And so therefore, the output of this is 0. And hence, the entire thing here is nothing but a 0. And if this is 0, then what you have is false. And that's why the output of this code is, as you can see, false in here. So let's uh, discuss this exception. Like when, if this had been like this, right? Then what would happen? Then what would happen is 200 is greater than 100, right? So this is going to get evaluated to 1. And if this gets evaluated to 1, then 300 is greater than 1, which is also true. So this entirely get evaluated to 1. So what you will have at the end is true. So let's also test this as well by doing this. And fair enough, you see the output here is true and not false. So I think this is what is happening in here. And perhaps this is going clears the confusion that you might be having. Does that clear your confusion?
Yes, sir. Thank you so much.
Okay, great. Okay, then we can move on to the programming assignment. So I'll just get rid of all of these in here and just have a hello world code. And let's start with programming assignment 1. Just wait a while for this to load up. Okay, so the question is, write a C program that calculates the area of a floating point number with 2 decimal places of a circle given its radius, integer value, and the value of pi is 3.14, right? And then these are the test cases that should give you. So let's try this. So the value of pi is something. So let's define the value of pi. So you can define in the code itself, or you can use this as well. Like sometimes when something is a constant, it is always customary, or not always, but most of the times it's customary to do it. And it's 3.14 is what the value is being used in here. So I'm using this. And now let's take in the kind of the two quantities, the radius and the we'll take in the radius and we'll just to print out the area, right? So we'll just take in the radius. So we'll do a scanf. So first let's print enter the radius of the circle, right? So we'll enter the radius of the circle. So let's make this large in the code, and let's also have this a bit larger so that it's easy for you to see what I'm writing. So I just enter the radius of the circle and then I do a scanf. So what I'm doing is now I'm taking in the radius, right? And now I'm calculating the area, which is pi r square. And once I've calculated the area, it just prints the area. So I have to print the area of the circle, which is percentage %f. So the code asks me to print till 2 decimal places. So for that, I'll give a percentage %.2f. So this gives me only 2 decimal places. So it rounds to 2 decimal figures after the thing. So once this is done, let's now test the test cases that we have in here. So let's see what are the test cases. So let's try to run this code. I will put this in here and let's see the test cases. So circle here. So let's see for 50 with 50. Let's see what we get. So we are getting a problem in here, right? Because we are doing some error. And what is the error that we are doing? Let's see. So I think we need this 5 in here because just to have some decimal in the other side. And oh no, I think we are right. It's just okay. There was no error. It's just the line was just shifted. Okay, but you don't even need this. Let's see once again. Okay, so enter the radius of the circle. Let me make it large to avoid the confusion. We have 50. We have 7850, and let's see what are the other values which we were trying out. Then we have 7 and 42. Okay, so let's run this once again and pass the value 7. So we have 153.86. Fair enough. What we have in here, 153.86. With 42, we are supposed to get 5538.96. So let's run this once again. 5538, sorry, 42. And we see 5538.96. So we are going validating this. So these are the test cases, and we see that we are passing the test cases, so the code works fine. Okay. So now let's move on to the next assignment in here. Cheese. Check if a number is 0 or positive or negative with if-else statement, right? And these are the test cases. So let me go back and do a print f, enter a number, right? We don't need this pi even anymore. We can do this, do int number, right? We'll check it if it's positive, negative, or 0. So here we go. I mean, for positive, negative, or 0, it can even be a float. So let's have it general, so have it as float. Now we will do something like if number less than 0, then it's negative. If it is greater than 0, it's positive. And if it is equals to 0, so if none of these is satisfied, if less than 0 or greater than 0 is not satisfied, then obviously the one which is satisfied is this, which is you have entered 0. And I will also give a /ns in here just to go to the new line. Otherwise, the print just gets a little bit messy. And yeah. Okay, so now let's print this. Oh, so see, okay, I forgot the scanf. Okay, so let me do a scanf as well, just to take the number which I forgot. So I will take this number which will assign in here. So let me run this code. Okay, so now let's try the test cases. So we have a 6.45, 6.45. It's a positive number. As you can see, we'll run this again. 0. So you see there is a 0 in here. Next, we run it again, and here you can see the question is 14.05. We have a positive number, and then the last one, minus 50. We have a negative number. So I think that is it. So we are passing all the tests, and this was all about it. And if you again have any questions, then please feel free to ask right now. I'll also check the chat if there are any questions on the chat. If not, then I'll move on. Okay, I think I can move on right now then, since there are no questions on the chat. Okay. So let's see what's the next question. Yes. So write a C program to check whether a number is an even or odd, right? So now again we will do that. So same thing. Let's have everything right just like this, but for even and odd the number has to be integer. So we have an integer, and we also take in an integer in here, right? And now even or odd, so anything which is divisible by 2 is an even number, otherwise it's an odd number. So let's do that, put that question thing in here. It's number which is mod, so we'll use the modulo operator. You see, when we use the modulo operator, and if it is divisible by 2, then the modulo operator should give no remainder, so its output is 0, so then the number is even, otherwise the number which we are putting in is odd. So this is what it is. And let's run this now. And once I'm running this, now we will check the test cases in here. So let's see what are the test cases that we have. Okay, so we put in 116. Obviously this is even, great. So now, so 116 is even, as you can see in here. Next, let's go to the next test one. It's minus 25. Minus 25 is odd, fair enough. Here we next have 24, which is even, as you can see in here. And next, the last one, which is 51. I'll put that in here, and is odd. So we are again passing all the tests, so good. And once again, I would pause, and please ask if you have any questions. Otherwise, we'll move on to the last question, I guess, for today. Let me also check the chat once. No, there are no questions on the chat, so okay. If there are no questions, then I'll move on to the next one. Just to be sure that if any of you are online, I'm not sure if I'm audible or not, because I am not able to hear much since I've started talking. So please make sure, just confirm that I'm audible to everyone. Am I audible? Can any of you please confirm if I'm audible or not? Okay. Okay. Great. So let's move on to the last question, I guess, for today, which is assignment 4 in here. This asks for find the largest number among 3 numbers using if and logical AND operator. And then there are these test cases. So again, we take 3 numbers right now from here. So this will be num1, num1, num2, and 3. So we'll take 3 numbers and we'll just give enter 3 numbers, and this can be float as well again because we can take anything, and we will do a percentage f and we will have the 3 numbers taken in num1, num2, and num3, right? So once we have the 3 numbers, we have to use the if else statement to find out the largest among them. So we'll do if num1 is greater than or equals to num2, and also it has to be greater than equals to num3, then we will know it is the largest. Else, if num2 is greater than equals to num1 and it is also greater than equals to num3, then we will know that num2 is the largest. And else, if num3 is greater than equals to num1 and it is also greater than equals to num2, we will know that this is the largest number, right? So this is the flow of logic in here. Let's get rid of some of the white spaces, and this is how this would work. So when num1 is greater than num2 and also num1 is, and so this means both of these has to be satisfied. It has to be greater than num2 and it also has to be greater than num3, then we will know obviously that num1 is the largest number. Then similarly num2, if the num2 is greater than equals to num1 and also it is greater than num3, then this is the largest number. Otherwise, similar statement in here. So once we have done this, I'll just print in here. So enter 3 numbers. So now let's go and check these test cases. -9, -4, -20. So it says I'll get -4, and fair enough, -4.00 is the largest number, right? That's what I'm getting. Similarly, let's try the other one as well. It's 45, 34, 67. Okay, so 45, 4, 67. So you see 67 is the largest. And let's try the last test case, 80 minus 5 and 3. So let's do 80 minus 5 and 3, enter, and see 80 is obviously the largest number in here. Fair enough. So we are passing the test cases in here, and this is all that I wanted to talk about. I think I have covered all of these questions, and let's then pause for a while. And can you explain some of the logic hints or logic expression, the second largest number of the 3? Okay. Yeah, I think that is also a good question. The second largest one. So you have found out the largest one, which is in here, right? So for the second largest one, you have to do something like it has to be greater than 1 while the less than, and also less than the other, right? So the one, say if you are going to num1, so you see you give num1 is greater than num2, but it has to be less than or equals to num3, right? And similarly, let's write that as well. Then n less than or equals to num3. Then print f, second largest number is the middle, second, largest number is percentage point 2f, comma, num1. So this is how you will get the second largest number, right? And similarly, you will have a same expression like num1 is greater than num2 but less than num3. Similarly, if you have a num2 which is greater than num1 but it is less than num3, then that is the second largest. While if you have the other way, num3 which is greater than num1 and it is less than num2, then num3 is the second largest, right? So out of 3 numbers, that is how you are going to find. So I'm not going to write all the details of it, but I mean, this is how it should work. So I hope this is clear to you. Okay, okay. Great. Great, then. I can then conclude the session for today. And I think this was a productive session for all of you, and you guys have learned something from it. And hopefully this will also help you with understanding C and also prepare you for answering the questions in the assignment and also in the exams, which will be upcoming. So with that, I thank you all for joining here and listening to me. And if you have any questions, then obviously feel free to post me. You can also contact me from my email ID with any questions. Let me share that as well. This is my email ID. You can contact me via email, or you can also drop in this chat box any question that you might be having, and I will be happy to answer that. And on that note, I thank you all. Thank you for listening to me, and have a nice weekend.